I'm not going nowhere. Are you with the newspaper?
No, not really.
I want to let you know that I was out here.
Oh, what's that?
Teamsters for Democratic Union.
Okay. But if I war for newspaper, what?
I mean, I want somebody to know that the Teamsters were here.
Oh, the Teamsters were here. Okay, I'll let my friends know. But what's the deal with the Teamsters? What's
the deal? I'm retired. I don't know what's really going on, but I'm for any kind of a struggle that's going on. I'm here to support.
But you know what really bothers me, to be honest with you? I came originally from USSR.
Yeah.
And when I see this lady standing on the podium with the portrait of Che Guevara, and you didn't see this lady over there on the podium?
No,
I mean, the Spanish woman.
You know, that microphone just bumped me. I had to go around the corner and get away from the sound.
Oh, I see. But when she was saying that there is a class warfare, that we have to, be down with capitalism, the workers of the world unite. I mean, I just don't get it.
Yeah, no.
Do you?
No, that's.
But that's and most of the people that were here, they were cheering her.
That's what happens.
It's like workers of the world unite, down with capitalism. I mean, what the hell is that?
I belong to the IWW2.
What's that?
International Workers of the World. In the old 30s, they were forced to reckon with.
But they were socialists, communists, right?
Well, yeah, it takes everything.
So
people call me a communist because I'm doing this.
So are you a communist? Do you believe in the ideas of communism?
Maybe a socialist.
So what's your definition of socialism? Because it seems like when I talk to people over here, they just don't get it.
I'm with the struggle. Any depressed people.
Yeah,
but worry about the people.
But how?
It filters down.
Wait. But how are people oppressed in capitalism versus what you advocate for, and that is socialism? See, I live on both sides of the Iron Curtain, so I saw what so-called socialism is all about and what capitalism is all about. So what's in your mind, since you never lived in a real socialist system, what's in your mind socialism is?
In a way, it's that they promise you good things where you work hard and gain by your struggle.
Okay, hold on. There is a struggle and there is hard work, and these are two different things, aren't they? I mean, you either struggle and then you don't work. You have no time working. You're struggling. You're fighting, right? You're demonstrating.
But you should have the right to say something in your workplace.
But we have the laws over here. I mean, going back to the definitions, fundamentals of capitalism versus socialism, I mean, in your mind, let's say you win the struggle. I mean, you're calling it a struggle, meaning it's still work in progress. Let's say you win the struggle and you achieve socialism that you want. What's going to happen? What will America look like once it becomes socialist, in your mind?
What's going to happen is that we're going to get respect. The workers build everything in this world, right? Workers.
But you get paid for it. In the Soviet Union, there are always also workers, right? Mm-hmm. There was a workers' revolution in 1917.
Do they have any say?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
But we have say.
Yeah, but that's what socialism leads to. See, people don't understand. When they use the word socialist, there's just fancy words. Because in reality, it never becomes a so-called socialist utopia. It always becomes dictatorship. It happened in Russia, dictatorship. It happened in China, dictatorship. It happened in Cambodia, dictatorship. It happened in Vietnam, dictatorship. Now, none of these countries that I've listed are socialist anymore. They're capitalists now. But North Korea still calls itself socialist, Juche, whatever they call this regime. It's dictatorship. Cuba, they call itself socialist, but it's a dictatorship. Isn't it?
Right.
So that's why I'm baffled. I'm really baffled when you use the word socialist, probably don't understand what it leads to.
But the people still protest.
You have the right to protest in the capitalist country.
But you can get killed too.
Where?
In socialist countries.
Oh, the socialists killed hundreds of millions of people.
And you think that,
but you want socialism, though, don't you?
I mean, it's a 2-point thing, like, it's two different things.
Explain to me, please.
Well, I'm not that.
No, but you say socialism. What's in your mind, socialism? Again, I talk to a lot of people, and coming from USSR and seeing so-called socialism, which has never been socialism. People also confuse socialism by claiming that Sweden, Norway, all these countries are socialist. They're not. they're capitalist countries with a bunch of
Well, I believe-
social programs. Like we have social programs in our country as well.
Right.
So, but you don't say social, you say socialism.
If you use it,
Use what?
use your socialism in other countries.
Socialism is a system. It's a political system. Essentially, it's also an economic system as well.
Socially.
Socialism, because this is the word that is being thrown around. Socialism. I don't mind social programs. I mean, we have plenty of social programs here. I mean, I'm for social programs, you know, to a certain degree,
Yes.
of course. For those who don't abuse it, who really deserve the social
Well,
programs.
we want to believe
have
that.
it.
We want to believe that.
Yeah, but you use the word socialism. Socialism. See what I'm talking about? So what's
Well, how about
socialism
a
for you?
reformer?
Yeah, but you don't use the word reformer. You use the word social. What's
Well, you
wrong?
might have caught me you might have caught me the wrong way.
What's
Now
that?
You might have caught me with the wrong saying.
Yeah, but everybody's saying socialism. They use hammer and sickle. I mean, that's the symbol of socialism. Call it workers, power or whatever. But it all ends up with the dictatorship. It always happened. Always.
Always
Will you agree with
Well,
me?
I guess I think so now.
So then, what's wrong with capitalism? And by the way, speaking of capitalism, fundamentally capitalism is different from socialism is because of the private property rights.
Yes.
See, you have a car or you have a house, you have, let's say, an apartment, you own it, it's yours forever. In the socialism system, not social, but socialism, you can own anything. Anything. There are no private enterprises, none. Everything belongs to the government. The houses, the apartments,
Well, don't you think
everything.
this is what's going to happen now? Eventually,
I
this is going to
hope
happen
not.
now?
God forbid.
Oh, this is what they're trying
because,
to do.
no. Who is trying?
They want to privatize everything.
But privatizing is good, isn't it? That's what I'm saying.
Well, if it's good for who regulates it?
We the people. That's how
People
market.
don't have no say.
Of
You wanna
course they
take
do.
your- they wanna take your-
I'll explain how. Listen, I have my own business, so call me a businessman because that's who I am. I give jobs to other people. I'm an employer as well.
Yes, sir.
So for my business to succeed, I have to come up with a product that you, the people, wants to buy, that you, the people, the customers, think that it's worth the money that you're paying for. I'm making profit.
How do you
With this
treat-
profit-
how do you treat your people?
My employees have vacation days paid by me, and I don't really have to do it. I'm not obligated by any laws to do that, by the way.
Well,
They're
you
not
don't- you
unionized.
don't-
They're not unionized.
Okay, but how much? When
They're
can
ha- they're
when
happy.
Can they retire and
Well, of course.
do they got security?
Well, of course they
When
get
you
security.
want to, you'll fire them, right?
Well, when I fire them, and it's a good thing that I can easily fire anyone. Look what's happening in France.
But you could have somebody that you don't like,
Of course.
or you don't like somebody.
And
you
if I
got
don't
somebody
like,
that's a
I
different
fire
color.
them. Yeah, I'll fire them right away.
Yeah, see.
It has nothing to do with the color of the skin. It's meritocracy.
But it does. It works that way too.
Well, you know what meritocracy is?
No.
Okay, meritocracy is the system where you are judged, but how well you do one or another thing. Nothing to do with your race, nothing to do with
But you do
your
want
religion.
You do want people to produce,
I want
and you'll set the pace.
I want the people to do the job that
And
the
you'll
job
set
they're
the
paying
pace.
for. Well, I set the pace. If they can't handle it, well, I'll find somebody else. But it doesn't mean that they sweat. I mean, they're
But don't you
happy.
think some people do that? They
course.
put them on a clock.
No.
And if you can't produce,
You
keep up with that
you
clock.
have a
Don't
choice
you
of
fire 'em?
you have a choice to choose this job or another job. In the Soviet Russia, for example, you had no choices. You don't even many people don't understand that. You were demonstrating over here. If it were happening in the Soviet Union, it would be just before you even
But
thought
you
about.
you have protection for the people too. If
In
they
the Soviet Union?
if they get together,
In the Soviet
you
Union?
got unions.
In the Soviet Union?
You got unions.
You must be kidding me.
You got unions
The
there.
whole people, the workers were the slaves of the government. And
Why did he protesting in Russia now?
well, it's a capitalist system now, mind you. It's not socialism anymore.
No.
It's not socialism.
Right.
The socialism came to an end in 1980. I left in 88. Well, basically 89, 91, something like that, when Yeltsin came to power,
Right.
you know. So essentially, 1991, more or less, the socialism, they used to call it social. It's never been socialism. It's like America is the best country in the world. You will agree with me, right?
It used to be.
Name me a country better than the United States. One. Name me one country that is better than the United States of America. One.
Well, how about
Yeah.
how about the way we
No,
go
country-
to a country and we buy their
Wait. Name
third
me.
world country.
Name me a country. You said the United States of America used to be the best country in the world. Name me another country which is better than the United States. It's not perfect. I never said it's perfect. It's the best. Name me another country in the whole world, on the globe, which is better than the United States of America. One.
Well, I guess I'm thinking about Venezuela.
Really?
I'm thinking about Cuba.
Really? You think Cuba? Okay.
All right. How about Ortega?
Okay. This is what's going to happen to you if you were in Cuba now.
Yes.
You decided to unionize. I'll give you one example, by the way, what's happening in Cuba. Just one example. There was a guy, a Floridian guy. He's in his 70s, I believe. I forget his name. He went to Cuba to deliver, he's Jewish, to deliver a small group of Jews who still live in Cuba modems, communication equipment,
Yes.
so that they could communicate with the United States. Guess what? Just simply because he brought some modems, he was arrested, sentenced to 15 years behind bars. 15. 1-5. So can you imagine that happening in this country, for instance?
All right. What
So
happens?
you still want to go to Cuba?
What happens when you go into a country and you build dams and everything for them, and they say we're going to give you this and give you that, and then you say, well, you owe us the money. You owe us $50 billion for building that dam. They can't pay it.
They who?
Well, the country can't pay it. A third world country can't pay it.
What are
Like
you
you talk
talking
about, you ever read a book, Economic Hitman?
Listen, forget about the books. Let's use common sense.
All right, so we go to the country.
Let's use just simple common sense. Okay, books, schmooks.
Yeah, all right.
You have your life experience. You're not a young man. I'm not a young man either. I mean, we've had some life experience. So I would presume that, we do or supposed to have some common sense. So from the common sense perspective, getting back, to my question.
You know what's something? I got
Yes.
relatives like you,
Uh-huh.
and I can argue with them for fucking days, and I just don't talk to them because I can't get none. I'm not that smart about these things.
Common sense. Again, I'm not even talking about being smart.
I'm
Common
talking
sense.
about when you see the United States goes into a third world country and builds something for them, and they can't pay for it, and they tell us, well, we want you to buy our products. We want to run your country. And he tells the leader of the country, a dictator, that you can make plenty of money. And if you don't do it, we're going to kill you.
Okay, well, first of all, speaking of the United States of America, obviously you don't know any other country better than the United States of America because it is the best country in the world. Cuba doesn't cut it even close. Venezuela, forget about it.
I think it is the best country in the world.
So it is the best country in the world.
And I wanted to stay the best country in the world. But the way
Yes.
things are going, the way they're stealing, and you're finding out.
Who is stealing? Who is stealing from who? It's supposed to be a free market. The problem happens
when you go to another country and take over their country, and you send your soldiers over there if there's any kind of protest.
Speaking of wars, so you're talking about the wars. It's never been in the history of humanity, ever, that there is an aggressor. For instance, Nazi Germany was an aggressor, correct?
Yeah.
The Nazis, they were the ones who started the war. Then the Japanese, remember Pearl Harbor?
Yes.
The Japanese were the ones who were the aggressors, who attacked us, okay? You can go through all the history books. You can go through all the examples
like
of the
with
history.
the Indians. You go back.
No. Forget about it. It's a different story. For example,
Mexico.
I know. Let's say Bolivia is an example.
Okay.
Very few people know about Bolivia, but again, as an example, when Bolivia declared war on Chile, on Paraguay, and on Peru, they lost the war. Chileans carved the Bolivian territory. Peruvians did, as well as Paraguayans did. And, well, I would think that rightfully so. I mean, the Bolivians, they were the aggressors. They attacked them for no reason whatsoever. Had they won, they would have kept their territory. But the other side won, so they kept the portions of Bolivian territory. And nobody disputes that at this point. The United States of America being attacked, Second World War, by the Germans. We won the war. After the war, what did we do? Marshall Plan. We give the Germans the money. We rebuild the country. Now it's one of the most developed countries in the world. Agree,
That's
right?
part of history.
Agree. Now Japan, they were attacked us, right? In Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941.
Right. And we knew that they were going to do that.
Well, it's a different story. I'm not gonna.
It's a story.
Okay, but the fact is, and you know that, you and I, that after the war, we didn't enslave the Japanese. We could have. We
didn't enslave them.
The Japanese. How?
MacArthur. They locked up the people in the United States.
MacArthur.
And they locked up the people in the United States.
Well, that's a different story. We can talk about it also. But when we, after the war, MacArthur spent 13 years in Tokyo, rebuilt the country, and what is Japan today? It's one of the most prosperous countries in the world, right? Democracy. But the best example, perhaps, is the difference between North Korea and South Korea. There was also war in Korea, right? MacArthur was also involved, okay? He wanted to finish the war by liberating all the Koreans. So it was going back and forth. Eventually, they got back. They settled at 30th parallel. So now when you look back, the South Korea, which is, you know, the territory where we stayed, the American state, is one of the most developed, prosperous democracies in the world, right?
And who made them? Who made them prosperous?
We.
We did how? We bought all their products.
But it's a good thing. You are a teamster. You produce the product. Don't you want the customers to buy your product? I bring the product. I want people to buy my product.
What about the workers in this country? They're not buying
You do
our
your
products.
job. You do your job, and you get paid for it. And that's what people do. You have a choice. You can be a worker. You can be an engineer. You can be whoever you want.
Well, how do you treat the workers?
Very well.
See, I'm a worker.
So, aren't you treated well? Don't you get paid? You, when you were working.
I fought the union. I'm a dissident Teamster member. I'm a dissident postal worker.
Okay.
I fought the unions. The way the corruption and the way they were stealing our pension money.
Stealing who? Who was stealing?
They were stealing the members.
The who?
The
union members?
No, the officers of the union. You know about that.
Wait. The officers of your own union were stealing money from you?
Yes.
Well, that should be fought. I agree with that. But that's your own union. But that's your own union who was doing that.
The members would accept that.
Well, look.
Why did they accept it?
The unions in the past, in my opinion, unions played a positive role.
Corruption.
100 years ago.
Corruption.
But today, unions are essentially obsolete. Because when you look at the factories where they're not unionized, I mean, look at the factories in the South that produce the Japanese cars. I believe Honda is not the unionized workers. Some other companies are not using unionized workers.
That was a long-range plan.
But they get paid very well. I mean, they're happy with what they are. The big three companies...
Well, how about Detroit?
That's exactly my point. They're going out of business precisely. You have to listen. You guys have to be reasonable, because you can expect to be paid $100 an hour, while it's not really.
Politicians getting paid.
Politicians. Speaking of politicians, and the unions. I recently discovered that there was a postal union kind of thing today, that the head of a postmaster general, do you know how much he gets paid? By the government. And what's the government? Where does the government get money from? From you and me, right?
Yes.
From our taxes. Do you know how much he gets paid?
I can.
Well, throw a number.
I wouldn't be surprised.
$400,000.
$400,000.
Okay. Now, the Minister of Defense, Panetta, he's the Minister of Defense today. Do you know what his salary is? $200,000. So why
a union official gets
paid more? Exactly. Even the
because
president,
he's allowed to.
because of you guys, because you want better, because you fight.
We don't have no say. We don't have no say.
Yes, you just said that you're fighting. You're demanding.
Well, that fighting, who's going to protect us?
But
if we go down, to the Labor Department and make a claim,
but do you know this saying?
They get rid of you.
Do you know this saying? Killing the goose that is laying golden eggs. Have you heard this expression before?
Yes,
I mean,
oh, yeah.
you know, you can demand to get paid $1 million a month or a year. You can demand that. What's going to happen?
No, you can't.
So where do you draw the line then? So $1 million is exorbitantly too much. What about, let's say, $500,000? Why wouldn't you demand to be paid $500,000?
From who?
Whomever you're demanding, that somebody pays you, said it's your right. I'm demanding, I'm struggling, I'm fighting. Where do you draw the line?
Well, if you have a membership that okays it.
But where do you draw the line? I mean, wouldn't you want to get paid $500,000 a month?
If I'm going to be hurting my membership?
No, just generally speaking. I mean, speaking of struggling, you're struggling. The point, listen, the point I'm trying to make is that there are market forces.
We can go on like this forever. I know, you know, like I said, I have people like yourself that are relatives of mine, and these are my relatives.
Okay.
And I can't talk to them about it because it goes back and forth.
Okay,
And,
listen,
you know,
listen.
It's a pleasure talking
Capitalism, pleasure is mine, but capitalism is the system that works. Trust me.
Well, you go, you do what you have to do, and I do what I got to do.
All right.
You know,
good talking to you.
It's a pleasure to talk to you.
All right, see ya.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.